Jessica, and I'm with you in BC Recreation. If you're new to this class, you've never taken a yoga class before, we start with the slow warm-up where we bring attention to our breath, focus on what's inside for a few moments before we move into the bulk of our practice. We are going to be pretty active today, of course, focusing on our core. And we'll end with the cool down where we slow down our movements, we slow down our breath, and we sort of come full circle where we return back into what's going on in the inside. Excuse me, because yoga is not just about the physical body, it is about the spirit and the mind as well. I want to remind everyone to always listen to your body throughout the practice. Take as many breaks as you need. Skip things if you feel the need arises. Practice for your body and your body alone. Always make sure to check with a doctor before you start a new exercise plan. Today we're going to get started in a seated position facing the front of the mat. So a loose cross-legged position. If that's not entirely comfortable for you, your legs can make more of a loose diamond shape. Wiggle the hips back some so the chest can come forward. It will help you find length in the spine. We're going to start by just looking down at our mat and deepening the breath. Keeping the gaze focused on one spot. And bringing all your attention to your inhale and your exhale. Deep breath in through the nose. Slow exhale out through the mouth. Now resume your normal pattern of breath. Take your right hand to your left shoulder. Press down on the shoulder and let your head fall to the opposite side. Getting a nice stretch on the side of the neck here. And maybe the breath naturally deepens again. Focus on sensations you feel in the body. And we'll switch. Left hand comes over to right shoulder, head falls to opposite side. Gently release, lift head through center. Bring right arm up to the ceiling and stretch the fingers up towards the sky. Nice long stretch for the side body here. Pressing firmly down through the sits bones as we lengthen. Place left fingertips down to the floor. Maybe add a bit of a side bend, keeping belly drawing in and chin lifted from the chest. If that's creating more sensation than you like, you can return to the previous arm straight up to ceiling. And let's all release, bringing both hands back down to our sides. Left arm extends up to the ceiling. Nice long stretch. Press down through the sits bones and out through the tips of the fingers. Few deep breaths into the chest. Option to add the side bend if you did so on the other side. And we release, hands down to mat. Spinal twist to the right. So motion comes from the belly first. Right hand directly behind us, left hand directly in front, and gaze behind you. Again, spine stays long towards the ceiling. Belly slightly drawing in. And release, returning to center. Spinal twist to the left, this time right hand in front, gazing out over left shoulder. And breathe. Warming up our core. Slowly release and return to center. Now plant both feet on the mat, so knees are up towards the ceiling. And hold on to the front of the legs, find some length in your spine. So modified Russian twist. So we're going to take our hands together. Keep the spine long, sitting on the sits bones, not the tailbone. So slowly we're going to shift side to side. So feet are going to stay on the mat for now. preparing our core for a little bit of work. When you find that twist, draw the belly in, back towards the spine. And release, hands down at your sides. Make some fists and you're going to place them right underneath your shoulders. Press into your feet as well as your hands to find reverse tabletop. Aiming to lift the hips in line with the knees. Stretching the front of the core, then bringing hips back down to the mat. Extend both legs forward, feet flexed. Bend the left knee, foot returns to the mat. Let the knee fall down towards the floor. Slight bend in the extended leg, heel stays on the mat. Lift both arms overhead, breathe in through the nose. As you exhale out through the mouth, find your full Janu Shirshasana. Belly touches to thighs and arms return down at your sides. As you breathe in here, try to send your chest forward, aiming to touch your ribs on your thigh. Low belly's drawing in, gazing down towards the mat. Feeling a long stretch on the back side of the leg. And we'll release, spine comes up right. Let's switch legs, starting with both legs straight. Bending the right knee, foot to mat, and knee falls to floor. Slight bend in the extended leg. Draw a breath in through the nose as we lift both arms overhead. Exhale into Janu Shirshasana. Ribs touch the thighs. Gaze is down to floor. Take a few breaths here. And we release, lengthening spine towards ceiling, straightening both legs down the mat, feet flexed. Hands on either sides of our hips into staff pose, lengthening spine back to ceiling, feet are flexed. If legs are really tight, you can keep a soft bend in the knee here as we lengthen our spine, get a little stretch for the legs, then relax into neutral. Bring the bottoms of the feet together into butterfly pose, pressing firmly to the pinky edges of the feet, letting the knees lower down towards the floor. If you like a little more sensation for the hips in this pose, draw the heels closer to the body. And if you'd like a little less sensation, you're going to scoot those heels away. And just breathe through the stretch. Again, extend both legs forward. Then swing both legs behind you, coming into tabletop position on the hands and the knees, wrists stacked under shoulders, knees stacked under the hips. Lift up to the tips of the fingers and around the spine into cat pose, tucking chin to chest, drawing belly back into the spine. Release back to tabletop. Lift and arch into cow, letting belly hang to the floor, gazing up to ceiling. Again, rounding the spine into cat, tucking chin to chest, lifting and arching into cow. I want you to continue this movement at your own pace, rounding and lifting the spine for another 10 seconds or so. You can stick and hold one if it feels particularly good, moving to the pace of your own desire. Return to tabletop, but stay up on the tips of the fingers. Extend your right leg behind you, pointing through the toes, lifting heel in line with hip. Give me a crunch, drawing right knee in towards the chest, rounding the spine, lifting the knee nice and high, then extending the leg behind you again. Just getting the feel for this one more time. Giving me a crunch, knee to chest, round the spine, pull belly in, step or place the foot into lunge right between the hands. It's okay if you need to grab that foot and put it into alignment, ankle right below the knee. Slowly lift right arm up to ceiling, into twist, drawing belly in, gaze up to ceiling. Right foot stays flat to the mat. Belly stays close to thigh. Breathe into the chest. Slowly return fingertips to mat. Deep breath in through the nose as we lift the arms overhead. Nice slow movement like we're moving through water. Lifting the arms up, lifting the chest. Exhaling out through the mouth. Slowly bringing fingertips down to the mat. Extending right leg behind you, pointing through the toes. Then return to tabletop. Opposite side. Left leg extends, heel in line with hip. Glute is active. Give me a crunch. Knee to chest, around the spine, belly pulls in, and we extend the leg again. Deep breath in as we extend. We exhale to find the crunch, knee to chest. Step or place the foot into lunge position, ankle below knee. Slowly lift left fingers up towards the ceiling, into twist, gaze is up. Hold the pose here, don't hold the breath. Slowly bring fingertips down to the mat. Slow breath in through nose, lifting arms overhead. Exhaling out through the mouth, fingertips back to floor. Extend left leg behind you, pointing through the toes, keeping the leg active and returning knee to mat. Hands come flat into tabletop. Lower into puppy pose, bringing elbows to mat, stacked under the shoulders, palms face down to floor, and head hangs heavy. This is option 1 for your rest position today. You're welcome to take any rest position at any time during the class when you feel tired. You do not need to wait for me to cue you to do so. Option 2 is to find child's pose, bringing the big toes to touch, bringing hips all the way down to the heels. Knees are separate and forehead rests on the mat. You can try both out, find whatever is most comfortable for you. And then you're going to hold that pose for another few rounds of breath. Taking advantage of this last moment of stillness that we have before we pick up our practice as a way to honor your body and finish your warm-up. Focus on your breath. Find some comfort in your stillness. Then let's meet back in tabletop. Wrists under shoulders and knees underneath the hips. Lift up to the tips of the fingers for me once again. Extend left leg behind you, heel in line with hip. Give me a crunch right into lunge, so knee to chest, then foot to mat. Tuck right toes onto the mat and lift up to just the pointer and the middle finger. Now the right knee lifts into the air into a lunge position. Drawing belly in, sending chest forward. Step up to half lift, so right foot steps up. Hands to shins, chest parallel to floor. Lower to forward fold, gently bend the knees, drop your belly to your thighs, let your arms and head hang heavy towards the floor. Then one vertebrae at a time, we'll round our spines up to a standing position, leaving your chin tucked to your chest until you make it all the way upright. Nice and slow, we don't want to get lightheaded. Exhaling at the top. So now we're going to move into the bulk of our practice. I'm going to start by demoing our plank sequence for the week. Every week there is a new plank sequence where we target our core and tie it into our practice. So I'm going to demo first, and then we'll tie it in together. So 2 options for your planks. If your wrists are pretty sensitive, you can do planks on your fists, thumbs facing one another. Otherwise, hands are flat to the mat. If hands are flat to your mat, let's take a moment to talk about how our hands should be in plank today. You don't want to be pressing just into the base of your palm. Instead, you want to grip the mat, pressing into the pads of your fingers, the base of your fingers at the top of your palm, and the base of your palm through your thumb, like you're gripping the floor like a little sticky frog. It'll help relieve some of the weight off of your wrist. Nice spread fingers, pressing into those points, and then we'll check our alignment as far as how high or low our hips are. Hips are in line with heels and they're in line with shoulders. Take a look back, even if you've done plank a billion times. So we'll start here. I always give a countdown. Plank work will start in 3, 2, 1. Starting with one foot, we're gonna lift it a few inches off the mat, and then we'll crunch. Bringing our knee over to opposite armpit. So I want you to aim for the armpit, but if you can't make it that high, that's okay. That's where we're aiming. Then opposite foot lifts, lowers, crunch, back to plank. So in real time, lift, crunch, lift, and crunch. Twice through. Then we'll find our forearm plank. Same thing with alignment. Elbows stacked under shoulders, hips in line with heels, in line with shoulders. We'll hold for 5 seconds, then we'll release down to the floor, and we'll continue our sequence from there. If that becomes too difficult, take breaks. Drop your knees to the mat. Like I said in the beginning of the class, modify so it works for you. We'll start at the top of our mat with some modified Sun Salutations. Feet are hips width distance apart. Stand nice and tall with purpose at the top of your mat. Turn your palms to face forward. Relax your shoulders down your back and start to deepen your breath. Next inhale brings both arms overhead, gaze up to the ceiling. As you exhale, lower to forward fold, gently bending the knees, dropping belly to thighs, arms and head hang heavy. Rise to half lift, hands to shins, back is parallel to floor. And step into plank position. Bend the knees enough to plant your hands or take them on your fist and step back into plank. Starting our sequence in 3, 2, 1. Lift, lower, crunch, plank. Lift, lower, crunch, and plank. One more time, keep this pace. Here's crunch and plank. Lift, lower, crunch, and plank. Find your forearm plank. Hold for 5, 3, and release. Tops of feet to mat. Hands underneath shoulders and elbows up to ceiling. Lift the chest to baby cobra. Draw the belly in. Find the strength in the low back to lift the chest and wrap the shoulders behind the heart. And press to your rest position, coming into either puppy pose, elbows to mat, or child's pose, hips to heels. Deepen the breath. It's okay to feel tired already. It's okay to not feel tired already. Take a moment, recognize how you feel. Deepen your breath a tad bit more. Then meet me in tabletop. Lifting up to the tips of the fingers, extending your right leg behind you. Give me one crunch, knee to chest, right into lunge, foot between the hands. Left toes tuck onto the mat, lift up to pointer and middle finger, and lift the left knee into the air. Step up to half lift, flattening the back. Lower to forward fold, belly meets the thighs. Slowly rise up to standing, taking your time before we reset. We've got 2 more sets. Lift the arms overhead, gaze is up. Exhale to forward fold, belly comes down to thighs. Rise half lift, flatten your back. Step into your plank position. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Lift, lower, crunch, plank. Lift, lower, crunch, plank. Lift, lower, keep it going, plank. Lift and lower. Last time. Find your forearm plank. Hold for 5, 4, don't hold the breath. And release, belly to mat and hands under shoulders. Draw the breath in through your nose to find baby cobra, chest lifts off the mat. You should not be pushing into the hands here. Use your core to hold you up. Press into your rest position, puppy or child's. Yogi's choice. And deepen the breath. Take advantage of these breaks to check in, to honor your body, and to honor it physically too. It's okay to take a rest in between exercising. Meet me back in tabletop. up to the tips of the fingers. Extend your left leg behind you. Give me a crunch into a lunge. Slowly step up to half lift. Knee lifts, back is flat. Lower to forward fold, belly comes down to thighs. Bend the knees if you can't make contact, belly to thighs. And slowly rise up to standing. Last time through. Deep breath in, lift the arms overhead. Exhale to return to forward fold. Inhale, half lift, back is flat. Exhale as you step back into your plank position, resume your normal breath here, and we'll start in 2, 1. Lift, lower, crunch, and plank. Lift, lower, crunch, and plank. Finish this last set. Keep your pace. Last one. Find your forearm plank and hold for 5. And release. Hands under shoulders. Inhale to lift the chest and exhale to your rest position. Take a moment here. Meet me in tabletop and lift up to the tips of your fingers. Option to make your practice a little more difficult. You do not have to take any of these modifications that I offer. If your tabletop crunches seem pretty easy, try doing it with the hands flat. If you try with the hands flat, know you're gonna have to pull up on the core more, find the roundness a little bit more, and find more of that lift. Up to you. I'm gonna cue to lift up to the fingers, but you can keep hands flat if you choose to try it out. Everyone extend your right leg behind you, heel in line with hip. Give me a crunch, knee to chest, lift that knee high, step or place the foot into lunge, and slowly make your way to half lift. Back is flat, hands to shins. Forward fold, belly meets the thighs, and slowly rise up to standing. Deep breath in through the nose, 2 deep breaths. Exhale out through the mouth, lowering your arms down at your sides. Deep breath in, arms up. Exhale, hands lower to sides. Inhale one more time, arms back up to ceiling. On your exhale, find forward fold, belly meets the thighs. Inhale, half lift, flatten the back. Step your right foot back into a lunge position, bringing your fingertips to the floor. Left knee is stacked right over the ankle. Bring your hands to your thighs and lift the arms up overhead. Holding here. Pressing out through right heel. Slight bend in the knee if the leg feels really tight. Keep right glute active. Left thigh is active. Nice strong bodies. Open into warrior 2, facing the right side of your mat. Right heel rotates down and makes contact with the floor. Arms at shoulder height, left knee still over the ankle. Look down at your feet. Right foot should be facing the long edge of your mat. Left foot should be facing the front of your mat. Hips and shoulders facing the long edge. Deepen the breath. And lower to side angle. Left elbow comes down to the thigh. Right arm frames the ear. We're finding a slight twist as right ribs reach towards the ceiling and belly draws in. And we inhale back to warrior 2. Exhale, side angle. Elbow comes down. Find the twist. Draw belly in. Inhale, warrior 2. Straighten the forward leg and find reverse warrior. Left arm comes up to the ceiling, right arm relaxes. Just a nice side stretch for the core. Lower back to warrior 2, knee bends, and windmill the arms down into lunge, lifting the right heel back off the mat. Fingertips frame the foot. Step back into your plank position and we'll take our sequence in 3, 2, 1. Lift, lower, crunch, and plank. Keep it going. lift, lower, crunch, and plank. Last side. Find your forearm plank and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and release. Inhale, baby cobra, lift the chest. Exhale to your rest position and take some deep breaths. Let's all meet back in tabletop. Lift up to the tips of your fingers. Extend your left leg behind you, giving me a crunch into lunge. Step up to half lift. Back is flat. Lower to fold, belly meets the thighs. And slowly round the spine, up to standing. Again, deep breath in, lifting arms overhead. Exhaling to forward fold. Rise, half lift. Step your left foot back into a lunge position. Fingertips frame right foot. You're on the ball of the left. Hands to thighs and arms extend overhead, holding here. Remembering you can modify the left leg by slightly bending the knee. Find some ease, but keep that glute active. Lift through the chest, breathe into the chest. Open into warrior 2, facing the left side of your mat, left heel down to floor, arms at shoulder height. Hips and shoulders facing long edge of mat. Exhale to side angle, elbow comes down to thigh, left arm up, find the twist, draw belly in. We inhale, warrior 2. Again, exhaling, side angle, elbow down, twist the belly. Inhale, warrior 2. Straighten the bent knee and find reverse warrior, right arm up to ceiling, holding here. Let left shoulder relax away from the ear. Return to warrior 2, knee is bent. Will middle arms down to lunge, fingertips to mat. Step back into plank, starting in 3, 2, 1. Lift, lower, crunch, and plank. Lift, lower, crunch, and plank. Last time. Last set. And forearm plank. Holding for 5. And release, belly to mat. Inhale, lifting the chest, and exhale to your rest position. Slowly rise to tabletop, lifting up to the tips of your fingers, extending right leg behind you, giving me a crunch into a lunge position. Slowly stepping up to half lift as you breathe in. Slowly returning to fold as you breathe out. Try to draw your inhale out as you slowly rise to standing, and then exhale at the top. Take both hands to your heart, stacking them on top of one another. Bow your chin down towards your chest and take a few moments here. Keep your gaze focused on one spot at the floor. Just notice the rate of your heart, the pace of your breath, how you feel in your body. Lower your arms down by your side, lift your chin from chest. And we'll take 3 deep breaths, lifting the arms up overhead, I ask you to close the eyes for the next few moments as we start to slow down our practice. Give me a deep breath in, lifting the arms out overhead. Exhale out the mouth, lowering arms down by your sides. Again, breath in, arms up, deepening the breath. Exhale to lower, out to the mouth. Last time, breath in, arms up. This time, exhaling to forward fold, nice and slow. Belly meets the thighs, and we'll hang out for a few breaths here. Sending your chest forward as if it wanted to touch the floor. Hips reaching up towards the ceiling. Low bellies drawing in. Shake head yes and no a few times. Help the neck relax. And slowly find half lift. Step back into your plank position. I said our last set was our last set, so I'll make that true. We'll skip the one here and we're going to hold this plank for a few breaths. Then lower to forearm plank and hold for a few breaths. Then lower all the way down to belly, tops of feet to mat. Arms come along the sides of your body and turn your head to one side so you can rest on your cheek. Take a deep breath in through your nose as you exhale out through your mouth. Let go completely onto the floor as if the body's just melting onto the mat. And take this much deserved rest. Big toes touch, but heels fall away from one another. Shoulders wiggle away from the ears. Then gently turn your head to the opposite side. Bring your chin to the mat, place your hands underneath your shoulders, and press into your rest position one last time. Slowly make your way to a seated position facing the front of your mat. And extend the legs down the length of your mat with your feet flexed. Lift both arms overhead, lower your chin to your chest. Then round the spine into rounded back stretch, placing hands on the knees, thumbs facing one another, shoulders relaxed away from the ears, elbows pointing out to the longer edges of your mat. I think the saying is something like, you are as young as your spine is healthy. You are as young as your spine, something like that. So appreciate this pose, no matter how much sensation you're creating, just knowing that you're improving the health of your spine, creating some space between the vertebrae, releasing tense muscles in the area. Now slowly start to lift the spine upright, finding staff pose, hands on either sides of your hips, length through the spine, feet are flexed, then relaxing back to neutral. Right knee bends, placing your foot on the mat. Left arm holds on to bent knee as we open into spinal twist. Right hand placed directly behind you, gazing over right shoulder. Left foot stays flexed, so leg is still active, and spine is reaching tall towards the ceiling. Slowly unwind, returning to center, straightening the bent knee. Left knee bends and right arm holds on, opening the twist, looking out over left shoulder. Right foot is flexed. And slowly unwind, straightening the leg. If you're not seated directly in the center of your mat, make your way there now. Then bend the knees, planting feet to mat, bringing hands together towards the chest, balancing on your sits bone. So wiggle the hips back, send the chest forward. Two options here. You can take the modified Russian twist from the beginning of the class where feet stay planted, or you can find the more traditional version where feet lift off the mat. And slowly start to twist, side to side. Moving at your own pace. Drawing the belly closer to the spine as you find the twist. Breathing out as you find the twist. If feet are floated off the mat, keep the spine upright. And then we'll all release, returning our feet to the mat, returning our hands to the mat. Take a breath or two. Fists come back to the floor, stacked under our shoulders. Let's stretch out our core, lifting to reverse bridge, lifting the hips in line with the knees, reverse plank, excuse me. Stretching the core, holding here, not holding the breath, and bringing hips back down to the mat. Place hands on the back of the thighs. And slowly round the spine until you're flat on your back. Let the knees fall in towards one another. Place your arms out at your sides, palms face up, and take a few breaths here. Maybe eyes closed if you're comfortable doing so. Just a few more poses we're going to complete before we find our final resting pose. Just want to slow down the movement. Straighten your legs onto the mat. Draw your right knee in towards your chest into Appanasana, interlacing the fingers, holding below the knee, pulling thigh close to body while flexing the feet. If there's any discomfort on your knee, you can hold on to the back of your thigh instead. And just breathe. Getting a nice massage for our organs, stimulating our digestive system, getting a great stretch for the low back. Gently release your hold, returning leg to the floor. Draw left knee in towards the chest. Appanasana, holding below the knee, flexing the feet. Gently release your hold, returning leg to mat. Draw both knees in towards your chest, feet by side, holding below the knees or on the back of the thighs. If you like to find a little bit of movement here, you can gently rock side to side. Keep the thighs close to chest. Then find stillness with knees on the center of the chest. Release your arms down to the floor at shoulder height, palms face up towards the ceiling. Slowly let the knees fall to the right into reclined spinal twist. Knees fall as far as they can. That doesn't mean they have to touch down to the floor. If you need any ease in this twist, lower the knees, lower than hip height. And everyone turn your head to the left. Our last pose before final resting pose. Maybe close the eyes if they're not closed already. And start to bring your attention back to your breath. Draw knees back to the center of your chest. Then let knees fall to the left into reclined spinal twist. Head turns to the right. Remembering, if you need any ease in this twist in the back, lower the knees away from the face, lower than hip height. Slowly draw knees back to center, wrapping your arms around your legs one last time. Take a deep breath in through your nose, lift your head to meet your knees, hold your breath at the top, squeeze everything nice and tight. As you exhale out through the mouth, you'll release, laying fat on the mat. Take up as much space as you can, separating your arms and legs nice and wide, letting the toes fall out, your palms face up. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and as you exhale out through your mouth, bounce onto your mat once again. And attention returns to the breath. Following every rise and fall of your chest. Nice steady breath brings ease to the mind, brings ease to the body. If your focus has wandered, bring your attention back to your breath, the last few rounds of breathing. Now start to deepen your breath, start to wiggle your toes, start to wiggle your fingers. Welcome movement back to your body. Slowly roll over to the right side of your body and take a moment of stillness on your side. Keeping your eyes closed or your gaze low to the floor, slowly press yourself up to any comfortable seated position. As always, we'll unclasp 3 cleansing breaths. That's breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Today, we're going to add movement to our breathing. So as we exhale, we'll round the spine, dropping chin to chest. As we inhale, we'll lift and arch the spine, gazing up towards the ceiling with eyes closed. We'll all start on an exhale, spine rounded, chin to chest. Breathe in through the nose, find the arch and the lift, tilt head up to ceiling. And exhale, spine rounds for 1. Breath in through the nose, lift and arch, nice and slow, shoulders away from ears. Exhale out the mouth. Find the roundness, chin to chest for 2. Last time, deepest breath yet as we breathe in through the nose, find the lift, filling the chest. Exhaling out through the mouth, rounding the spine, squeezing the breath out the belly, chin to chest. Lift the spine to a neutral position. Take a second to thank your mind and your body for this practice. I thank you for letting me lead you on this practice. There is a light that exists within me that honors the light that exists within you. Thank you for practicing with me today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're looking for something a little easier on the body, I teach a vinyasa yoga class, much like this, but without all the core work. If you thought this class was awesome, please let me know. I'd like comments, feedback, and I hope to see you guys next time. Enjoy the rest of your day and be easy on yourself.